Hi, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About This. I am your host, Crystal Hicks. I'm excited to be back after taking a little bit of time off. And I'm excited about my guest who's on the podcast today. She's an author of a book called Plus Size. It's a memoir of pop culture, fat phobia, and social change. She's also a beauty justice activist. Her name is Megdelia. Megdelia, how you doing? Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hi, thank you.
I didn't pronounce your last name. Tell the people your full name because I didn't want to mess up your last name. I'm terrible when it comes to some names.
Oh,
But yeah, could you give people your first and your last name?
sure. Mekdela Ejigu.
Ejigu, Ejigu. See, I would have messed that all up. So, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Okay, so where are we chatting? Where are you chatting from?
My apartment in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, you're in LA. Okay, all right. All right. Well, welcome to the podcast. So you have a book called Plus Size. Can you define what fat phobia means and how it manifests in society?
Yeah, so fat phobia is a socially accepted and like all-encompassing form of discrimination against fat people. It can be explicit, people explicitly hating fat people, or it can even be implicit, where you've been trained by media and family and other sources just to associate bad qualities with fatness, right?
Mhm.
So you
Okay.
don't even, that's what implicit bias is. Sometimes you don't even consciously realize you're doing it.
Oh, okay. So how do media betrayals contribute to society attributes towards fatness and people with who are considered overweight?
So they usually put fat people in stereotypical and unflattering roles as either a villain or like a punchline of a joke.
Hmm.
Like for instance, like we saw in Insecure, and I loved that show. That was my show when it was on. But we
Right.
saw the way they treated Kelly, and that's the interesting part. Kelly's not even that big. She was just like maybe bigger than the other stars of the show, but they
Hmm.
made the joke. Kelly Prenny, they made her the joke. She
Hmm.
was the joke. And it just encourages these poor views and resentment and hatred towards fat people. Another example right now, there's a show on Netflix called Baby Reindeer. Have
Okay.
you heard of it?
I've never saw it. No.
So basically, and it is based on a true story to the credit of the creators. So basically, the main character, Joshua Gad, a Scottish guy who is a comedian and an up and coming, television writer, and he experienced very traumatic events.
Hmm.
First he was sexually assaulted by a producer, a male producer, and then he was also stalked by
Hmm.
a woman, and this woman happened to be fat, right?
Hmm.
And so, basically, in the show, she's depicted. It's a fat woman playing the stalker, and
Hmm.
she's just completely unhinged and just
Hmm.
off kilter, off-putting. It's almost like she's in the villain character, and like the audience, it's like the audience wants you to hate her. And the thing is that yes, the stalker in real life was also a fat woman. The only problem with that is that because there's such a dearth of positive roles for
Hmm.
fat women, we never get to see fat women as the heroine, the main character, as a
Hmm.
fully fleshed human being on
Right.
TV. We
Right.
just seeing these stereotypes, and so it just kind of like perpetuates and replicates like people's hatred of fat people or fat phobia.
That's true, because if you watch a lot of I remember back in the day when they had music videos. Back in the day, they would spend, I don't know, thousands of dollars to make a music video, and you very rarely saw a thick woman in the video. You always seen a woman who was, like you said, light skinned. It's nothing wrong with being light skinned. I don't want to get people to get the wrong idea, but you never saw, or you saw someone who was very thin, You never saw a lot of heavyweight women in the video, and you make a good point there. Even in um I can't say a lot of films, but even on social media, let's lose social media. I mean, because that's the world we in right now. You see a lot of women getting BBLs and boob jobs and tummy tucks, nose jobs, or whatever to make themselves look thin and beautiful, but they're not doing it the natural way. But then they're selling these weight loss uh products when they didn't really lose weight themselves, you know? So it is kind of a hypocritical type of narrative that I see sometimes that's being sold on social media. What is your perspective on that?
Actually, yeah, I learn a lot from social media because, some of like my ideas come from there, like because people have such good insights into fat phobia on there. So I
Mm-hmm.
remember this one woman, and I experienced this change in real time, right? Like back
Mm-hmm.
in like the 2010s, I
Mm-hmm.
was considered like fat, right? I'm like a size 14. And
Mm-hmm.
now, and like people treated me that way. But
Right.
now people are nicer to me, right? Like people, it's the most bizarre thing. I walk down the street, people I don't even know, they look at me, they smile at me. And
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like the other day, like twice, like, wow, everybody's like smiling at me now. What's that about? And then I like talk to other people and I refer to myself as fat because that's how I was perceived and treated before.
Right.
And they're like,
Right.
oh, you're not fat. You're mid-size or like you're just average, you're regular. And they have
Mm-hmm.
no idea that this is not the way, public sentiment always was. It's changed somewhat because of social media, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but also because of the mainstream media is also like highlighting of like certain plus size models,
Mm-hmm.
where
Yeah.
where that like size 14 body type has now been normalized and where
Right.
we're like now more marginalizing the bigger body types, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so there's this great thread on Twitter where this woman said, like the only reason you guys don't think that like size 14 or size 16 women are fat anymore is because the media like kind of like did a mind trick in a way because if you actually look back and like what you were saying, like the rap music videos back in like the 2000s, like the late 90s, early 2000s, like if you look at Nelly's music videos,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they are thin, right? Like they
Mm.
are really small. But
Right.
the discourse at the time was about how thick these women were.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
Right.
it's kind of a mind trick. Like they're very thin, but you're being told that that's thick, so you think they're thick, And it's like I like to use the example of the Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I watched the Titanic, like when it came out, like when I was like a kid, I saw Kate Winslet as curvy. In my
Mm-hmm.
mind, she was curvy. And if you remember, the magazines all called her fat.
Mm-hmm.
But if you rewatch that movie now, because I did, and I was
Right.
like blown away. My mind was blown because I was looking at her and I was like, she's just a regular skinny girl. Like I don't know why did we think she was like curvy? Like, and it's because like the what the media shows us is shaping our perception, right? When we're used
Mm-hmm.
to seeing like, only the very smallest, everyone else seems big after that, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. Do you think that is changing now? Whereas heavy set women are being looked at as beautiful now than it was back in the day, or do you think that it's still the same? Is that the same perspective that people have right now when it comes down to people? Or because I just look at fat. I hate to say the word. I don't even like to use the word fat. I just think it's. I like to use the word thick. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I think thick is beautiful and I think a natural body is beautiful. And I had a discussion. It's funny that we talk about this because one of the guests that was on my podcast, we spoke about how uh children don't know what a real body is today because there's so many fake bodies out there. And and even adults don't even know what some adults, not all adults, but some adults don't even know what a natural body is. Do you think that is detrimental to young children who are actually watching these women on social media who are getting all these BBLs and boob jobs and things of that nature?
Yeah, yeah, I do, and I can actually use a firsthand example. I even before social media, when I was a kid, you know, I grew up watching like all of the media, the music videos, the movies, the shows, the
Mm-hmm.
commercials, right? The message being sent was that beautiful women are very thin and they
Mm-hmm.
have straight hair. And so I literally made myself sick trying to obtain that, right? Like I did a relaxer, it like really damaged my hair. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Thankfully I never did anything crazy like the skin lighteners. But
Mm-hmm.
there are still Black women out there that are lightening their skin because of those ideals, even before social media,
Right.
right?
Could you
So,
get your volume up a little?
oh, sure, sure.
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah, how's that?
Okay, that's better.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So imagine if it was already bad then, and now we have social media and we kind of see like a history repeating itself. We see kind of like a similar dynamic happening again, where um, I don't think that things have really changed. I don't think that it's necessarily fat women that are considered beautiful right now. I think, like you mentioned, it's like the Kim Kardashian body type, where it's like a skinny woman who's had a boob job and a BBL in order to mimic naturally fat bodies or thick
Mm-hmm.
bodies. That's the beauty standard, right? And that's what makes it not real and so manufactured because you have like Cardi B, for instance, and I love her down. Like, don't
Mm-hmm.
even get like I love her. I'm a huge fan
Right.
of Cardi B, but I mean that's like the beauty standard right now is like being naturally very thin and
Mm-hmm.
then having plastic surgery where you mimic the curves of a naturally fat woman.
Right. Right. What so how has it affect you? I know you said that you you as a preteen you dyed your hair because you was trying to make your hair straight. Is that what it was you was trying to do? Okay,
Yeah,
because you thought that the beauty standard was to have straight hair, a thin body.
absolutely.
So you was trying to mimic what society was telling you what you should look like.
Exactly. Yeah,
And this is
exactly.
the reason, and this is what inspired you to write your book called Plus Size.
Exactly. Yes. And actually, I got the term beauty justice from my former role with a nonprofit in LA called Black Women for Wellness. And
Okay.
so that company is amazing because they do so much different work like maternity health,
Uh-huh.
the food drives for the Black community, the environmental justice work to stop the oil drilling in Black communities. Like they're doing a lot of good things. The
Mm-hmm.
reproductive justice team. So I was part of the environmental justice team, and they had a sub group like under that umbrella of environmental justice was beauty justice. And
Mm-hmm.
so what we did was we went through like the research about like what the skin lighteners and hair relaxers are physically doing to Black women,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like the skin lighteners, they have things like mercury in them, and that's literally like poisonous. It's
Mm.
literal poison. It's like arsenic, right? You're poisoning yourself. Even the chemicals in the hair relaxers, very similar, right?
Right.
And the research has been showing that it literally causes ovarian cancer, breast cancer, uterine cancer. And
Mm.
so I don't know if you've heard, but there's a lot of class action lawsuits going on right now.
I've heard about that. I actually saw some of the lawsuits for some of the chemicals that people were using that cause cancer.
Exactly.
Hair products and things of that nature. I mean, as you can see, I don't have any hair. I cut mine all off. I can't even remember the last time I put a relaxer in my hair. And it's mainly because of what you're talking about now. I
Yeah.
just trying to stay away from chemicals and try to do things as natural as possible. You know what I mean? Instead of going to get a BBL or a boob job, I'd rather go to the gym and try to eat right. Because a lot of women have died getting those surgeries done.
Yeah.
And I just think that everybody have the choice to do what they want to do when it comes down to their body. But as for me, I choose to leave here the way that I came in, and that's natural. Now, so what I want to ask you is, what role do diet culture and weight loss industry play in perpetrating fat phobia?
Right. So I want to actually highlight an example that you gave earlier about like these celebrities and influencers that have plastic surgery, trying to sell weight loss and diet products that are really just, harmful, like poison to
Right.
kids, right? They don't work, but they do poison your organs,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Your organs. So, like, for example, we had Kim Kardashian. She literally, like, around 2018, she was peddling a lollipop that was an appetite suppressant,
Mm-hmm.
and she was telling her followers, like, yeah, it was just an ad, like, yeah, like, use these lollipops, to lose weight because you won't want to eat anymore. And she
Mm-hmm.
came under so much fire for that. People really reacted to that, and they were like, "What are you doing? Like, this is such a bad example for young girls. People are going to get hurt. They're going to mess up their internal organs.
Mm-hmm.
We know about people who messed up their internal organs. Like, I don't know if you've heard of the actress Jamila Jamil. She was on The Good Place, a popular show on NBC. But so basically, she was anorexic as a teenager. She was also looking at the media of all the skinny celebrities. She
Mm-hmm.
saw that really, really impacted her mental health. So she
Mm-hmm.
became sick. She really, really was obsessed with being skinny. And she
Mm-hmm.
tried the diet products, like the detox teas,
Mm-hmm.
everything. And she said they didn't, all they did was make her, pardon my language, shit fire, you know.
Mm.
So it actually damaged her organs to
Mm.
where they don't work the same anymore. She is
Oh
disabled.
gosh. She might have
Exactly.
been using all kinds of different types of different products, you know.
Yeah,
And that
exactly.
can mess up your organs, I mean, it really can. So what happened after that? I mean, how is she now?
She's better. She's lucky, right? Basically she recovered from anorexia. And I don't know if you know this, but anorexia is the most fatal mental disease, and most people don't recover from it. So she
Hmm.
recovered fully. She had to go on a medication that made her gain weight.
Okay.
Uh, she was also one of the lucky ones. Some people never are able to get that weight back down. Returned to her original size.
Hmm.
She's now a famous actress who has money and who's safe, who's taken care of, and like, but she also continues to advocate to save the next generation, right? So
Right.
she's talked to Congress about, banning under 18 children from seeing diet ads on social media.
Hmm.
Uh, and just getting those diet products off the shelves because
Mm.
they're, dangerous, as
Mm.
she knows.
Right.
She's even like called out Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians themselves
Hmm.
for their part in that.
Right.
Um, but she's also defended them from misogyny and people blaming everything on them because they're not the whole issue. Like they're just a part of the issue, and
Right.
so it doesn't make sense to scapegoat them. So I'm thinking about how Kim Kardashian came under fire for advertising the lollipop appetite suppressants in 2018. But what do we have now?
Mm.
Ozempic, right?
Yeah, yeah. And Ozempic, if don't quote me if I'm wrong, but isn't Ozempic for people who are diabetic?
Yes,
And
yes, it is.
people, because I know somebody who takes a Zempic
Yeah,
because they're diabetic, but they lost weight because from what I hear, it suppresses the person's appetite.
exactly.
And people are thinking that it's something that you use just to lose weight. No, you don't, you're not using it to lose weight. Basically, it's for your diabetes. Um, I know a person who's on it, they lost weight, they lost about 70, 75 pounds, and that's because the medication suppresses the appetite. So this is the thing they're pushing now. Is that what you think?
Exactly. And just because it's created by a pharmacy and doctors are prescribing it because, it's mainly a money-making business, right?
Mm-hmm.
It
Right,
seems very much our healthcare system is very much profit over people, profit
right,
first, people second.
right,
Because I mean, if you really like think critically, what's different, but other than, of course, for people who are taking it for diabetes, that's completely valid. But
right.
what's between like for everybody else, what's different between taking Ozempic or just having like Kim Kardashian's lollipop appetite suppressant, you know?
Right, right.
And we don't, and that is not even considering the side effects of Ozempic. Like there are people who can no longer digest their food. Like that's a big side effect of Ozempic that no
Mm,
people are literally risking lifelong disability just to be thin. And it also causes a bunch of other like digestive issues like nausea,
mm-hmm,
um, diarrhea. There was actually a lawsuit of a woman who is suing the creators of Ozempic because
mm-hmm.
after she took it, um, her stomach became disabled. And now every time she poops, she's just going to have diarrhea for the rest of her life.
Mm. Oh, wow. That's terrible. But a
Exactly.
lot of these medications have side effects though. If you
That's,
really think about it,
yeah.
a lot of medications, and they tell you in a commercial, if you take this medication, it's going to do this, it's going to do that, and that's what makes it kind of scary is because everybody's body is different and everybody reacts from medication different, and you don't know what's going to affect one person and not affect the other. So it is kind of scary, it's a lot of medications out there that have side effects.
That's very true. That's very true. And but additionally, this is something that I saw from people on Twitter. Again, it's a great
Hmm.
place.
Right, right.
We're basically saying like the side effects that come with Ozempic, like the nausea, the vomiting,
Mm-hmm.
the diarrhea, like all the gastro systems, your digestive system issues, those are also just side effects of not eating enough.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What is Ozempic? It's an appetite suppressant. So
Mm-hmm.
it feel like you don't need to eat.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
those digestive symptoms, they're
Mm-hmm.
also like a side effect of just not plain not eating enough, right? So
Right.
basically, partially it could be due to the medication, but also it just might be because of you're starving yourself.
Right. Yeah,
Many
that's true. Yeah, yeah. And then another thing is with I don't know, I know that I it doesn't do anything. Does it? I don't know a whole lot about Ozempic. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a pharmacist. But my question is, when people take Ozempic for diabetes, is that supposed to lower their sugar level?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I guess it's lowering their sugar level and suppressing their appetite at the same time. But that's not going to stop people from eating certain foods. You know what I mean? Because everything boils down to what we put it the food we eat, basically. And if we just change the foods that we eat, you know what I mean? Not to turn this into like a diet type of thing, but if we just do things more natural rather than doing, because there's too many products out there for me. You know what I mean? It's just too many products. And, people jump to this and jump to that and jump to this. My thing is to try to do things natural. You know what I mean? Go back to eating right. And that's what all boils down to. Eating right, vegetables, fruit. Not to say you should deprive yourself, but my thing is to just do the natural things. I don't think you need to go out here and risk your life by getting a BBL or getting a boob job to look like because you got to remember we're going to age later on down in life. And I don't know if your butt drops right along with your age or what, I don't know how that does. I don't know because I don't want to get none of that put into my body, but it's just that we need to do things more natural and stop paying attention to what they're selling us that can be detrimental to our bodies and our life. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
exactly there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the BBLs, I keep seeing stories, and it's always Black women. I keep seeing stories coming out of the UK specifically, although I know it's definitely everywhere, especially the US, you know?
Right.
Um, Black women from the UK who fly to like Turkey or some other, you know, Eastern European country because they have cheap services there.
Mm-hmm.
And the stories we see, you know, they end up dying, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
dying people. And then there was this one woman where they found her organs were missing. So it's also possibly organ trafficking.
Are
It's
you
an organ.
kidding me? Wait
I'm
a
not.
minute. She went to another country
Yeah, to Turkey.
to get a boob what to get a BBL
Yeah, BBL.
and they took her organs while
Yeah,
she was asleep.
they said she died during the operation. However, they did find her or some of her organs missing. So it's very possible that could have been organ trafficking, but it's officially listed as a surgical death.
Oh my God, that's another thing you got to worry about because
Exactly.
people do need organs. People need kidneys. People need, see, that's why it's not good to even mess with that stuff. My suggestion is to do things natural, walk, go for a walk, go to the gym, try to eat right. I mean, I love to eat all kinds of food, but I'm learning how to make better choices. I'm not a thin person. I've always been thick, and I'm happy with my body. I'm not trying to please nobody but God. That's about it. That's the only person I'm trying to please because you know, we have to learn how to accept people the way they are, you know what I mean? And and the one thing that we really need to do is to learn how to love ourselves. You know what I mean? If you love yourself as much as I know, I love myself to death.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to allow anybody to mistreat me. I'm not going to allow anybody to make me feel like they're better than I am, regardless of what they look like or how much money they have. Um, but it all boils down to how much you love yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's important. It's all about how you feel about yourself on the inside. We can't look for validation from people we don't know. We don't even know half these people on social media. I don't even know half of them. The only ones I know is my family and people that, I might bring on the podcast or associates. But there's millions of people on social media and we don't know these people. You know what I mean? And people look for validation from these people um through changing your body image and all these kind of things, and it's dangerous. It's just dangerous to you, to yourself. So tell me about the book Fat Phobia.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sorry, it's called Plus Size is the name of the book. Is
What's
the
interesting is that, yeah, what you said reminded me of that because that's like a huge point in the book was that I love myself so much that I'm just not going to harm myself or let anybody harm me. It's better just not to engage at all, you know?
is
But
right, right, right. Because it all boils down to how do you feel about yourself? You know what I mean? That's what it
yeah,
boils down to. Who cares what other people think and how they feel? There's somebody for everybody out here. And you don't
yeah,
have to go out here and damage your hair or get a BBL or risk your life by getting these fake body parts or things put in your body that can do something to you later on down the life. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So when did you write the book?
I wrote it like starting in 2016, slowly, or no, I think I started it in 2017,
Okay.
added it and published it in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and it's been doing well ever since. And it's you know really meant to start these conversations with people like we're having right now. You know,
Right, right.
at the end of the day, Black women are the most affected by the beauty standards and also, you know, the beauty industry. And so
Mm-hmm.
So much, because of colonialism and other things, there's so much self-hatred within the Black community, that
Right.
we have to be having these conversations with our
Mhm.
friends and family and, with
Right.
our, at Black Women for Wellness, they have a rites of passage program for the youth where they
Mhm.
talk Black high school girls, and I did a presentation for them as well, uh,
Mhm.
because we need to equip each other with this information, because it's a vicious world out there. Like you see, like on Twitter, when women are dying from BBLs, and yet you still see like Black people making fun of women with BBLs,
Yeah.
It,
And then you're seeing women with BBLs that not don't even, I mean, terrible jobs. I don't know what doctors they went to, but
yeah,
if you look at some of these women, the butt, it's just not natural. I
yeah.
mean, your butt is huger than everything else. I mean, your legs are skinny, and then you got this huge behind, then you got these boobs. I mean, it's just not natural. I mean, you see all kinds of terrible BBL jobs on social media. And once they go and start doing surgery and start messing with that stuff, there's no coming back from that.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah, and
coming back from that type of stuff. So I would suggest to anybody out there who's listening to this podcast, I do not promote that stuff at all. What I would promote is first self love. You need to love yourself. And a lot of people who are out there getting those things done, they don't. Maybe it makes them. I don't know. Maybe it makes them feel a certain way about themselves. But I don't think you should risk your life. You know, by going out there and getting these BBLs and going to these because everything is all about money for these a lot of these doctors. It's all about money. And like you just said, people going to other countries to get it done and they stealing your organs, possibly. We don't know if that's true or not, but you know, um, you don't know what they doing when you under anesthesia.
exactly, exactly. And I also want to say that it starts with the Black community, how we treat each other. We need to also start like self-love, loving ourselves and loving each other, because I know a lot of even like skinny Black women complain that in their families they get made fun of for not being thick, for
Mm-hmm.
being, and I know in a lot of Black communities their beauty standards were slightly different than like the white or mainstream ones, in which it's only beautiful when a Black woman has a huge butt,
Mm-hmm.
and a Black
Mm-hmm.
woman that does not have a butt is like a joke, an
Right.
object of
Yeah.
derision.
Right. Right.
That's,
Mm-hmm.
that's why that's why we have women going to get BBLs, because they want to live like the other side, they want to
Right.
they want that pretty privilege. And it's so sad because, like you said, they might go to a cheap surgeon, get botched, or even die. And what do they get in return? They come back and they're getting made fun of again. They're
Yeah.
getting fun of again.
Especially
It
if
just
you had a
shows.
bad BBL done, if you had a bad job done, and people are so desperate to look like the same. And then we have too many women looking the same.
Yeah,
We were not born and God didn't create us for all of us to look the same. We all supposed to be have different. We fat is
yeah,
beautiful, thick is beautiful, light skin is beautiful, black is beautiful, dark skin is beautiful. You know, it's just beauty and diversity, period. And that's what's more important. And the fact that, like I said, it all boils down to self-love. How much do you care about yourself? We should not be out here doing things to please other people. And that's basically what, unless you're doing it to please yourself, but still
yeah.
to me is dangerous,
Yes.
from my opinion.
Yes, and as Black people, I know it's hard. I know there's like factors like trauma and colonialism, but we need to be kinder to ourselves and to each other, like no more like making fun of like curly or nappy hair, or skin color, darker skins, or black fat Black women or people, or
Mm-hmm.
even skinny Black women. Like I think or like, the facial, like the Afrocentric facial features,
Right.
it starts with us, like we need to do better for ourselves and for each other, I think.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we do. So what kind of advice would you want to give out to someone who might be having these same type of issues that you were having? What kind of advice would you give them?
Uh, you know, that's a great question. The first thing that came to mind is probably therapy, you
Okay.
know,
Okay.
because there might not be anybody in your family or community or even friends, because, fat phobia and beauty standards, for me, it was endless, right? Uh, it was affecting how everybody in my life treated me, up to like strangers, I didn't have anybody. I went to therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the first time that I had that support and that safety in the environment to really heal from all
Mm-hmm.
of the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I would say maybe, if you're fixating too much on the body image issues, you want to do this, that, and the other to your body, I would start with therapy probably.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what helped me before I went to therapy is going on social media and just, the body positivity movement. It really did help, just seeing all these people of different shapes, colors, sizes, but specifically plus sizes, fatter, especially fatter women, you
Mm-hmm.
know, just living their lives, being happy, being joyful, being in love,
Yeah.
wearing these beautiful clothes, that
Mm-hmm.
healed that healed my trauma too, right?
Right.
I,
Okay.
I basically unlearned fat phobia by doing that. So now
Mm.
that changed how I see myself. I now see my body as beautiful,
I'm
you
so
know.
happy for you. I am
Yeah,
so
thank
happy
you.
for you. I really am. I really am, because you know, I know, it's I guess the words I'm looking for is the fact that, it's easier said sometime than it is done.
Yeah,
And, because we do live in a society where the standard size of beauty that the perception is that you have to be thin and you have to have long straight hair, and it's funny because you got white women who are trying to look black and thick, and you got black women trying to look white and
yeah.
thin, so it's just, I think this kind of affects people of different diversities too, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm,
everybody has this, but my thing is, if you love yourself, you don't care about what people think, you don't care about what people say, you know what I'm saying? And and you just have that positive mindset and look at yourself as being beautiful. I'm looking at you now. You're beautiful to me. I don't see what you need to change. So but that's one of the things we have to do. We have to learn how to love ourselves,
mhm,
and that's very important. And I'm glad you were able to come on the podcast and share this information for people, because there are a lot of women out there who are watching this podcast or probably listening to this podcast who probably need to hear this, because they might be struggling with the same things that you were struggling with, you know and when it comes down to beauty standards, and like I said, beauty uh is diverse to me anyway. I love to see a diversity of different human beings. I don't like seeing the same old thing. Everybody is doing the same thing.
yeah.
Everybody is doing the BBLs, and everybody. I don't. If that's what make them happy, that's what make them happy. But for me personally, I like diversity. I think thick women are beautiful, dark skinned women are beautiful. You know what I mean? And it's all about how you feel about yourself, regardless of what other people feel and what they think. Even men, even when it come down to men, I mean, because you see thick men, I see some thick, nice looking thick men out here, you know and they come in all different colors, and it's just that I just love diversity. I just don't like seeing the same old thing. To me is boring,
Yeah,
and it's not interesting. you
that
know but it's just, I just like the fact of seeing a diverse humanity out here in society. That's what I like anyway.
absolutely. And I just wanted to say that you pull off the um
The bald.
hairstyle. Yeah, you pull that off so well. It looks really good on you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I stopped putting chemicals. I can't even remember the last time I put a chemical in my hair. Let me tell you, I done had it all. I had the dreadlocks. I've been through the wigs, the weaves, you name it, I've done it. And I'm over 50, so I'm at a stage in my life where I'm comfortable with not putting no chemicals in my hair. I'm comfortable with being bald. I tried to put a wig on the other day, and I do like to throw a wig on once in a while, but now I done got to the point where I don't even want to wear a wig no more,
Yeah.
because I just feel comfortable being bald. And I just don't like anything on my head now. My daughter called me the other day and she said, Mom, I bought this cute blonde wig for you because my daughter, she likes to give me a makeover every once in a while. So she likes to go out and she'll buy me some outfits, and she'll buy me a new wig or whatever. And if I go to her house, she want to redo me all over again. And I'll be like, no, I don't want that long wig in my hair. I just like, I feel comfortable the way I am, and it's not about pleasing nobody. As long as I feel good about it, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, so any you got to tell the audience where they can find the book. Is your book in Amazon or any? Okay, where can people get the book? Because some people are probably going to need to read that book. So where could they find your book?
definitely. Amazon, it's there. It's on there, and it's also on a website called Book Baby Bookshop, bookshop.org,
Okay.
Kobo, Barnes and Noble, the ebook, Walmart, basically anywhere books are sold. And it's
Okay.
also an audiobook now. People don't know that, but it's an audiobook on Google Play.
Okay.
Um, so if you prefer like listening to books, it's there too, Google
Oh.
Play.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. It was a pleasure having you on the podcast, and I'm glad you came on. And this is a different conversation, but it all relates down to mental health because we
Mhm.
all know that, this is all related to, your overall mental health and wellness and your overall well-being, so my suggestion is to, like I said, make sure you love yourself first. That's more important.
Mhm.
Sometimes we do things to make other people happy other than ourselves, and then we realize, wait a minute, am I really happy? Am I really happy being this way, or am I really happy looking this way? No, it's all about how you feel on the inside, what's important and what makes you happy, not the other person. But thanks a lot for coming on and sharing this information. Good luck on the book. And do you have any Instagram handles or social medias where people could follow you?
Yes, thanks for asking. My Instagram handle is Mekdela.a. That's Mekdela.a. I
Hmm.
also have a Twitter at plus size book, a TikTok at plus size book, and I'm also on Medium. I write blog posts as Mekdela.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thanks again, Medela. I appreciate you for coming on. And for those who are watching, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Don't just subscribe, but watch the channel. That's important because we want you to get as much information as you can from this platform. And tune in next week. For another episode of Let's Talk About This podcast. On that note, you guys have a blessed day. And Medalia, you take care of yourself. And thanks for stopping in again.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a beautiful conversation. I really appreciate you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. You take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.